Hi, good evening. My name is Mr. Uttendorfer, and this is Studio Art. This is for back to school night. My preferred communication is Google Classroom, but you can also email me at uttendorfers@gcufsd. I also, this year, due to limited size capacities in classrooms and the hybrid learning that we're doing this year, I'm going to do extra help through requests on Google Meets. And then if someone needs to meet in person at school, we can set up an individual day or time in order to do that. A little bit of background about me. It's my 17th year here at Garden City High School. I am primarily the AP Studio Art teacher and the Art 3 teacher. This is my only Art 1 class that I teach, but it's a great opportunity to hopefully entice students to continue on with the arts. And I do love working with the freshmen and hopefully inspiring them to continue on in the arts. So I am a showing exhibiting artist, not only just an art teacher, but also an exhibiting artist with Babylon Village Arts Council, which I'm a very active member. I have usually 2 or 3 shows, as well as other events that I do with the Babylon Village Arts Council. I've also shown at the Islip Art Museum and Petite Gallery in Huntington, New York. So the skills that we really focus on are building the principles and elements of design, working and really starting to fully understand color, rendering, the use of different materials, from everything from pencil to paint to pastel to colored pencil, watercolor. Now, this year, the materials will be a little bit different, and the uses will be a little bit different than the years before in the past. Just because of our current situation. But we will take proper studio practices in order to ensure everything is safe and clean. We will have individual class sets. Since this is the only Art 1 class that's in my room currently, they will be the only ones that are using those materials. I have rubber gloves and sterile equipment to make sure that everything is properly maintained and properly taken care of. Proper studio practices, all students have to come in and clean their hands. We have 2 sink stations with plenty of soap, as well as additional sanitizers to ensure that we're working appropriately with safety protocols. Art appreciation will most likely take place during remote days. I do like to show a lot of different art and artists and art making, and that's usually done on days that they're home. The school district has adopted the art rubric here that kind of breaks down every single project into these 4 different categories. The 4 different categories are, understanding of whatever we're working on, the materials, because every time there's a different material with the understanding of things, and then the fulfillment of the assignment, and then of course the effort. Now, effort is really one of the most important things. Even though it has even weight, the effort into a project really does take a lot of value in an actual project. As long as everyone's at home working and here at school also working, they'll do quite well. Other things that we'll also be covering is things like contemporary art, the idea of installation art. We usually try to do this in conjunction with Spirit Week. And then the idea of craft is art and art is craft. The idea of what is a craft and what is actual art. And then even now as a freshman, building up a portfolio for college admissions, even as a supplemental portfolio, is a good idea. And we will digital, especially since we're using Google Classroom, and a lot of the work will be submitted digitally. We'll be compiling a digital portfolio to use later on for college admissions. So this is just some of the other things that we've done in the past. This year, some of the projects may change a little bit just because of the logistics of the room, and that we're not working at tables, we're working at desks for the time being. So our sizes and things may be slightly different than years before, but of course, we'll be dealing with creating, focusing on the fundamentals of art making, being able to render an object, being able to look and see it for what it is, possibly doing a self-portrait series. Last year I did a masked self-portrait even before the quarantine. We did an upper part of the face mask, but maybe we'll switch that and do a self-portrait with a lower face mask, and kind of design possibly a new design for a face mask instead. Doing zoom in, zoom out. This is oil pastel, so we really do try to cover as many different materials as possible. Figure drawing. We have little mannequins, wooden mannequins. Now I have a complete class set, so every student could have their own mannequin to work from in class, and then be able to leave it aside, sterilize it, and then the next cohort would be able to come in and use their own individual one. We wouldn't have to worry too much about sharing. Mark making and things like landscape learning, figure, ground, foreground, middle ground, background type of things. And then finding interesting ways or interesting subject matter to actually discover and to work with. So that'll be it. I will also be available later on this evening for any questions or concerns that anyone may have in regards to anything. The only required materials that I do ask, and I have already posted that in Google Classroom, was to have a sketchbook and a pencil holder. Most of the materials I'm going to try to provide whatever I possibly can. And again, thinking of best studio practices, if no one is comfortable with sharing materials, then I think it's important possibly to purchase those materials on your own, so that you have your own set that you can take to and from, and be able to keep those the way that they are. There is a suggested list as well on the Google Classroom, and I'll definitely be letting everyone know in advance, all the students in advance, of whatever materials we're going to be using. So have a great evening. I hope to see everyone later. Thank you.